Good afternoon, and welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Infitech. So, as you can tell, I have this wild contraption here behind me. Basically, this is my setup in the Nether that I've been working on. Basically, if I hit this button here, that spawner is going to kick on, and if we give it just a second here, there we go. We've got wither skeletons. Basically, it's a skeleton spawner. Which wither skeleton spawners don't really work. You have to do a skeleton spawner in the Nether. So basically this kills them, and of course we get wither skulls, skeleton skulls, arrows, coal, which is, I'm thinking about setting up a system to automatically make diamonds for us, using that coal. Break it down into coal powder, make coal chunks, and blah blah blah, make industrial diamonds. We've got bones here. And over here we've got skeleton trophies, and then I also have all of the gold armor right now going into filing cabinets. Hassam Quat commented on a previous video and said that he had a system set up, which I'm going to have to finish setting that up. I started working on it a little bit, but I spent a ton of time working on this and also testing, which we'll get into in a little bit this episode. Basically what we're going to be doing this episode. But a system to automatically repair this armor using the Thaumic Restorer and then break it down into, gold and steel and everything. So, right now I don't have any place for the chain stuff just yet, but I'll end up setting that up. And this trash can here basically just accepts the leather and the bows and the stone swords and junk that we don't want. Also, I did make a magnum torch, my first magnum torch, and I set it up down here, basically just to keep mobs from spawning. I have a really big issue, as you can hear, with ghast, and so I didn't really want them spawning directly right on top of us. Sometimes they'll spawn and make their way over here, but it's a lot less common. Just to kind of give me a safer area here in the Nether. And then also down here, of course, I have a vacuum chest grabbing the drops, and I have a vacuum hopper getting all the liquid XP for us. So we've already amassed a ton of that stuff. I may have to change up drums or something. Also down there, the way I have them... oops, I thought my jetpack was on. The way I have them being killed at the moment is, if you look down there, there's a diamond spike. Just one of them. And I did enchant it with looting. So we have a fair amount of drops running. I got all of this stuff basically just running it for like an hour or something. It's not too bad. Over here I've got a dimensional anchor with some aluminum, and then I have farms set up here. I do have reservoirs underneath these open blocks tanks, and they're feeding sprinklers. I did throw some bone meal in there. I haven't automated that just yet, but basically it's growing beets and potatoes. And then there's another sprinkler over here since their range is only 4. And then all of that stuff's going into here. We've got beet seeds, we've got poisonous potatoes, beets, and veggie bait. And what I'm doing, actually, up there is crafters, just set up to take wood, which I need to bring. I need to bring some more wood over. I just brought like a couple stacks. I need to move an actual barrel over. But basically it's just crafters making hoes like we've done before. And then down here, the way I'm getting sugar is I'm actually taking these beets from Pam's Harvest Craft, and I'm just pressing them down, and they make veggie bait and sugar whenever they get pressed. And then you pull out the bottom. The veggie bait goes into here, which it does have a void upgrade, and then the sugar gets sent down to these vats along with some water, and the potatoes, which some of them are, yeah, you can see the potatoes, and also poisonous potatoes can come down here. And basically this all just gets changed over into hooch, which goes into this barrel. If you notice, it's already amassed a ton of that. And then that hooch goes into these combustion generators with some water and creates power for us. So, very, very nice setup, I think. And then, of course, the power just gets routed around the base, or around the room here, and does all kinds of nifty things. And actually, once this hooch builds up, it's going to pull a lot less power because these vats will stop running and everything. So right now it doesn't effectively run with only 6 combustion generators. It doesn't run the spawner with no power loss, so I kind of have to watch it. It does take a really long time to drain out the power, but it can run out. However, I think once the vats stop running, it should be pretty close to good. But as of right now, if you notice, I have a ton of wither skulls. I'm not too worried about it. So anyway, the reason I did all of that is because today we're going to be semi-automating the wither. I did do a lot of testing, and with the hardcore wither in the pack, or whatever the whatever the mod's called, I can't think of it. But anyway, it does make the wither pretty crazy. Also, just as a heads up, I noticed that, at least for me personally, it could be due to texture packs. I'm going to start flying because we need to move far away from the base to do this. But I will cut in just a second. But I did notice, for me personally, I haven't tested it without the texture pack. But like my Minecraft, I give it 8 gigs of RAM. Just because I've gotten used to that with the 1.10 packs, because they seem to run better with 8 gigs. But anyway, the wither on about the 15th kill, this is of course in a test world, it did crash the game, and it consistently on my tests it would crash the game due to the fact that the wither's explosion gets bigger and it starts destroying the land in a very large radius. It kind of makes like this weird design too in a flat world. But anyway, it destroys the ground, and I guess it does so much at once that it causes the pack to crash. I did send Jason a message on Twitter, so I don't know if he's aware of it, and I'm probably going to test later today. I'm going to test it and see if it does it without the texture pack, and we'll see. I'll play around with it and everything. But this system is only semi-automated. That's the best I could do, because the wither's explosion destroys literally everything after a while. Even like Killer Joes and things like that. The only thing it will not destroy is witherproof obsidian. So, it's kind of an expensive build, but it will safely automatically kill your wither up to somewhere between 13 and 15 kills, something like that, whenever it starts crashing the game. So, I'll also explain another build that I noticed worked, strangely enough, if you don't want to use power at all. I'm going to go ahead and actually mark this area. Yeah, give me just a second here. Okay, I actually found this little villager town thing, and this is where we're going to set it up, I think. The villagers will die, I promise, but anyway, you are going to need a bunch of this reinforced obsidian, and it is not cheap. That's not what I clicked on. You're going to need some dark steel bars, and some obsidian. So it is fairly expensive. So just a heads up. And by the way, I had this pulled up because I noticed the magnum torches weren't really any more expensive than standard. They really weren't bad at all. So, that's an option. It is very handy. But anyway, what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to need a bunch of this reinforced obsidian. But let's go ahead and we'll set it up like right here. We are going to want to set ourselves up. I forgot to bring my builder's wand. Oh well. We're going to start with a 5x5 platform. Now, I will say that after about, I want to say it's like 6 or 7 kills, I would suggest that you have a 7x7 platform. I just didn't have the patience, honestly, to make any more reinforced obsidian. But this will work initially for my tests. So, we'll start with just a 5x5 and I'll upgrade it later on. But we're going to build this out. So give me just a second here. Okay, and now that we've got our box set up, I went ahead and made a little area here with like a roof, just so we can kind of get tucked in under the rain and maybe our machines won't explode, because I know I had a comment about the rain. And see, I didn't realize that the rain would blow up your machines. Luckily, because I live in the biome I live in, it doesn't rain ever. But I didn't realize it at all. But anyway, let's go ahead. We're going to set up our industrial craft transformer just right here, and we'll go ahead and we're going to face it to the right here so that the high voltage comes in on that side. And then we're going to set up our medium voltage transformer from Tech, and we're going to face it. Why are you not? There we go. We're going to face it over here to the right. And we'll set up our high voltage battery buffer and face it over here to the left. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw in our batteries. We'll go ahead and start draining a little bit. And we'll set up our Tesla coil just right here. And the way this thing works is basically it's going to damage anything around it when it receives a redstone signal. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead, and I'm assuming this stuff won't explode when it gets hit by rain. I shouldn't think. I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. So let's go ahead and connect that up, and then we're just going to bring our cabling down. Now keep in mind that this will only work for like the first 10 kills, and then his explosion gets so big that it's going to blow up everything anywhere near it. So after 10 kills, you can either set up, like reset up everything and kind of break it before, you know, he dies. Or you can do it the other way that I'm going to explain to you in a minute. It does cost a little bit more obsidian, but that's okay. But anyway, we'll put our conduit switch here. And basically what we're going to do is whenever he's activated, we're just going to turn that on and let the Tesla coil burn him down. The Tesla coil does use a little bit of power. It's actually not that much when it's ran through the transformers, I've noticed. And it only drains power when it's running. So, very, very nice. And it does do quite a bit of damage. I had 2 of them set up in a creative world, and it actually tore up the wither fairly quickly. So now what we can do is we'll just set our soul sand down. And then our wither skulls. We'll go ahead and close that off. Why did I get the beginning achievement? Did I not have it before when we fought the wither? And we're going to kind of stand back here, let him do his explosion. And we'll go ahead and kick that on. Now you'll notice that his health is getting drained off. And it's actually happening at a fairly decent rate. Now you'll notice the piston does get knocked off. I don't know why. The lever never does, but the piston does. And make sure you don't get near your Tesla coil because it will destroy you. But you'll notice that he's taking a little bit of damage there. The more Tesla coils you add, of course, the faster it gets. It can be excessively fast if you use enough Tesla coils. We'll give him a minute here. It's so much easier than actually fighting him, though. And like I said, Killer Joes, he destroys those. He destroys spikes. He destroys, like, pretty much everything. But Tesla coils can get him through the walls very effectively and seem to do the trick. And there we go. The withers learn more about us. We'll go ahead and turn off our Tesla coil. And then if we just come up here, we'll throw down our piston again. Remove that, and there we go. I did notice that, I'm assuming that it's intended, but I noticed when I was testing, if you recall, the first time we killed the wither, we got 2 nether cubes. And I know Hasamquat commented a couple episodes back and said he killed the wither a second time and got, I think, 3 or 4 or something like that. So it was increasing, but I noticed with my testing, he only drops 1 for a little while, and then eventually he'll drop 2. And then, I want to say at like the 10th or 11th kill, when he starts getting a really big explosion, he starts dropping 3 then. So I'm assuming that Jason cut down maybe the amount of nether cubes that you get per kill. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn him up again. And like I said, this setup, if I was you, I would set it up and just run it for like the first 10-ish kills or something like that. And then I would probably disassemble it because he's going to start destroying it. Like I said, you'll notice that explosion actually got me right here. Also, you'll notice that as that time it didn't destroy the piston. How interesting. But you'll notice that the more times you fight him, he's going to start summoning minions. Why are you not dying? Ah ha ha. He's going to start summoning minions, and eventually he'll summon, like, blazes and just all sorts of stuff. Okay, I didn't know if that was a minion of his. He'll summon wither skeletons, and it does get really crazy, I've noticed, the more times that you fight him. Did you not? Yeah, there's a wither skeleton minion. But if you want to kill him after the 10 attempts, or if you want to kill him with no power usage, as long as you are very patient, because like I said, it does take a minute. What you can do is you can actually set up a room. It does take a little bit more obsidian than this one does. Actually, I'll just pull you into Creative World and I'll show you how you set that up. How you go about setting that up. Really, really quick. But let's go take a look at our Spoils of War. We got, oh, okay, now we've got, oh wait, we got 3 nether cubes that time. Okay, I'm assuming maybe it's randomized. Because when I was doing it in the Creative World, I never got 3 until it was like the 9th or 10th kill or something like that. So I'm almost thinking that that's randomized. But I could be wrong. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to pop into a Creative World really, really quick. And I'll show you how you set up a system to basically kill the Wither with no power usage. And it can kill him past the 10th kill with no loss. Okay, so basically what we have here, I went ahead and built it out, is we have this big box. Basically, this is our Wither box. And your ceilings need to be 4 high. And of course all this needs to be reinforced obsidian so that he's not going to be able to break out of it. And the top needs to be too thick. I haven't had any issues with him breaking out of the sides too much, but I would go ahead and suggest that you do too thick all the way around just to be safe. Because I do believe he could probably, depending on where he's summoned, he could probably still slip out. Because basically whenever he's first summoned, he has like a short duration, I've noticed, of almost invulnerability. So if you have the ceilings only, say, 1 thick, a lot of times he'll just jump right out of there. And it won't even, it's not even going to phase him. But if you have these 2 thick, and you go in here and you summon your Wither Skeleton, we'll let him spawn up really, really quick. You'll notice he's already summoning blazes and stuff. But you'll notice that he is contained within there. And you'll notice that he's actually taking health damage. And it's slowly dropping his health. So what he's going to do, what it is, as long as there are sheep nearby, he's going to just start attacking. And, if you don't have sheep nearby, of course, you can always just get a golden lasso, bring you a sheep over here, and just set it right outside the box after he spawns. Don't set it before he spawns, because then he's going to explode and kill the sheep. And then I would suggest you hide, of course, because he's going to summon gas and just crap everywhere. But you'll notice that he's slowly killing himself, just being in that box in there, because he's just attacking like crazy, thinking that he can hit the sheep and break through all of this stuff. But of course he can't, because this obsidian stops him, and so he's just going to sit in there and kill himself. It does take some patience. His health right now is like, I want to say like 450 or something. This is basically the death that crashes the game for me. And I would suggest, by the way, that you cover your sheep pen as well, because of all the lightning and stuff that he causes. But basically this is the area where I was killing the Wither before, like testing it. And you'll notice that the world, it does this explosion effect and creates these like blasts in the ground. After about 10 kills it starts doing that. And then whenever that final kill would happen, it would crash the game. So I won't be able to actually kill this Wither because it will crash the game. But eventually he's going to kill himself. Now if you want to speed this up, of course, you could always come over here and you could set up some Tesla coils and then shut him down and take him off real quick when he starts to get low. You could speed it up that way. But this is really the 2 best ways that I've come up with, because like I said, he blows up everything. You can't even use vacuum chests or anything to gather the nether stars on his death, because he's going to blow the vacuum chests up whenever he spawns and or dies and or shoots anything. So semi-automated in this fashion is really the best that I could do. I spent quite a while playing around in the test world. I want to say it was about 2 hours today and about 2 hours yesterday, just trying to come up with the best possible design. But I noticed that spikes and killer joes and pretty much everything that we could possibly use to kill him, other than Tesla coils, just to get instantly destroyed. Of course, Tesla coils we can set on the opposite side of the reinforced obsidian and damage him that way. And one other thing that we can do is we can actually TNT him. You'll notice that it does fairly decent damage. And it doesn't take long before you kill him off. I'm not going to kill him because it'll crash, but basically if you use this system, the TNT system, it's going to take you a few pieces of TNT. But you can make the room a lot smaller. You can make it pretty shallow indeed. And, you know, it'll kill him off pretty effectively. So he's kind of hiding in that corner and he won't move, so I can actually build it back out. But, yeah. And he'll probably destroy your redstone torches in the process of doing this. But that's okay, because those are cheap. So, but anyway, we'll kill him, and I'll show you that how the world crashes off whenever he dies. But just a heads up, because I'm going to end the episode out here whenever it crashes. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, be sure and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. And I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions or anything, or if you guys have a better design, do let me know, because it's, you know, it's very, very much appreciated. There we go. Oh, that actually did not crash that time. I don't know why. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Of course, he didn't do the big explosion. I don't know. I was doing like back-to-back wither kills before, so maybe that was the problem, which is very, very possible. I don't know. I have no clue, but he started doing like this thing, and then it would crash. So, I don't know. But yeah, so I hope you guys found that helpful, and like I said, if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to let me know. Those are the 3 methods for killing him that I can think of, and the TNT one was actually just kind of spur of the moment, because if you recall, I said I knew like 2. But yeah, so you can either do the Tesla coils up to, like I said, about the 10th kill, and then it's going to be a really massive blast. Now, you could run in and set the Tesla coils down. Honestly, Tesla coils are super cheap. They are extremely cheap. I was very surprised by it. So if you don't mind the cost, you know, you could use these indefinitely. It's just an MV transformer, some redstone, iron item casings, electronic circuits. All this stuff is very, very cheap. So, you know, you could do something with that if you don't mind losing the stuff. Or you can do the TNT method, or you can, you know, just let him kill himself, as long as you're like very, very patient. So maybe do like a 5x5 or something with double thick walls and just let him murder himself. As long as there's sheep outside of there, he'll attack. Or at least that's my experience with it. But yeah, so of course, if you guys have any other suggestions on ideas, do let me know. But yeah, I hope that was helpful for you guys, and I hope to see you next episode. So until then, as always, do take care.